What's up, guys? I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about morning routines. So if you go on YouTube and you search for morning routines, you'll find hundreds of videos of people showing basically what they do to get their day started right. And if you watch enough of them, you kind of feel like everyone does very similar stuff. So there'll be something in there where they're exercising in some way or another. There'll be something where they're obviously eating whatever it is they eat. Something about hydration. And then they'll normally be, they're obviously getting ready, showering and all the rest of it. And occasionally you'll see something like where they're learning something new. So reading a book, listening to an audiobook, meditation, whatever it might be. But what I haven't seen and what I don't hear enough about is that having one morning routine, it's not really going to cut it in real life. And always something to be careful with these YouTube influencers is and I'm trying not to be a hater, but they have a tendency to show you this picture perfect image of what a morning routine should, could, and would be like. But as we all know, real life isn't like that. So some days you have more time than others. Some days you wake up earlier, later. Some days your day is structured differently. So I think having this one perfect morning routine, not only is it not realistic, but it's just not something truly attainable. So I think what you need to do and what you need to consider is you need to have a couple of morning routines. You have to have a couple of setups for the varying ways that your day will often look like. So the first thing you should do really is sit down and figure out what your average day looks like. So what time would you need to get up? How much time would you have before if you had to walk out the door? Okay. And also, things like, for example, the exercise thing. A lot of people don't like to work out in the mornings. So don't feel the need to have exercise in on your morning routine. I do, however, believe that having movement in your morning routine is great and really important if you can, because movement and getting the blood flowing and getting our lungs working, it wakes our whole bodies up as well as our minds. It's all connected. Our mind is our body is our mind. So we want to wake all of those things up. So if you can get the movement in, but I'm digressing. Let me come back to it. You need to have a couple of routines depending on how much time you're going to have that day. So let's say that you're on average, you have an hour from when you wake up to when you start work. And that's to clarify what the morning routine is once it's done, you're then into the regular day. So maybe you sat down at your office or you're commuting into work, whatever it is. This is kind of your pre-work day. It's your time. So let's say you have an hour. Then you have to break up that hour into what is going to benefit you most for the rest of the day. And what would you want to get in that you know that you're probably not going to get in later on. So that's the reason why a lot of people exercise in the morning is once your day gets going and you get busy, you tend to make excuses for exercise and then it just doesn't happen later on. But if you're not that kind of person, if you prefer to work out in the evening, then you can remove that from your morning routine. And maybe it frees up time for something else, working on a side project, for instance, or reading a book or spending time with the kids, okay, whatever it might be. So generate what you want to call your standard morning routine, okay? And it should be prioritized into things that are going to get you going for the day. So for example, I think hydration, regardless of if you've got 5 minutes or an hour, you should make sure that drinking a large glass of water is done first thing in the morning. And whilst you're at that, taking your morning supplements is a great idea, okay? And then you might be fasting, so you might not be having breakfast, or you might not be fasting, therefore you need to fit in breakfast. Is it something that you're going to cook fresh? Is it something that you're going to meal prep? For example, overnight oats, you can just pull that straight out of the fridge and eat it. Okay, something like making eggs or anything like that, it's going to require more time. There's no right or wrong here. It just depends how much time you want to spend on these different elements. Now, once you've got your standard morning routine set up, you also want to have a quick one. So a quick one is for you wake up late, or there's a more pressing emergency, or whatever reason. Maybe you're not even at home, you don't have access to all the normal stuff, and it's just kind of get up, get ready, and get out the door. Okay? And again, this needs to be thought about, and this is where people go wrong, is if they can't do things optimally, if they can't do it exactly how they want to do it, then they tend not to do it at all. So if you can't have your perfect morning setup, the 1 hour, then there is no morning setup, and you just drink a coffee on your way out the door, and you stop at drive-through McDonald's on the way and pick up breakfast. So it all goes out the window if you don't have everything there. And that's the problem, because more often than not, it's not optimal, and we don't have all the time in the world. So it's better that we have the option that we can do a quick one that, whilst it doesn't cover all the bases, it covers the most important stuff. And then on top of that, I think it's really important to have an extended morning routine. So these are for the days where the time pressure is off. So for a lot of you, it might be the weekend. If you work for yourself, it might be a weekday that you choose to be your more relaxed day. Or you might just be lucky you've got the morning off, or you've chosen to take the morning off. And I think a more relaxed morning routine should involve basically the same things, but it should be treasured a bit more. It should be enjoyed a little bit more. So if you do work out in the morning, you extend it a bit. You do some stretching, you do a good warm up, you lift a few extra sets of weights, whatever it is. If you're making breakfast, you do make it fresh. You take the time, you make something that you wouldn't eat on a day-to-day basis, maybe something a bit special. Not necessarily a cheat meal, but something that you're really going to enjoy. And maybe you do something that you don't normally have time for in the morning, okay? A simple thing for me is I like to sit with my coffee outside in my garden and just relax. And it's about 5-10 minutes. I'm not reading, I'm not meditating, I'm just enjoying the moment. And that's not something that we always get enough time for. So when I've got a longer morning, when I've got that extended period, I like to have a routine that's a bit more drawn out. And it lets me savor, that's the word I was looking for, lets me savor the moment a little bit more and enjoy what I'm doing. Keep in mind, your morning routines are about making sure that you're set up for the rest of the day so that you're going to be productive. So think about the things that get your engine running. It's all about the warm-up. It's like a car that's been sitting there for a long time, overnight, whatever you want to call it. Before we go put the foot down on the gas, we need to warm that baby up. We need to get the oil running around. We need to, pump the engine a little bit, and then we're ready to go. So that's why things like being hydrated is really important. That's why if you have the opportunity to exercise, or at least let's say go for a little walk, anything that's going to get your heart rate going a little bit and just wake up and energize your body is a great thing. You want to put your fuel in, because no matter how warm that engine is, if there's no gas, it's not going to run well. So if you're intermittent fasting, that's a little bit different because you're running off of fat reserves. Fine. But if you're not, then make sure that you're eating a nutritious breakfast that's going to fuel you and that's going to get you going for the day. Take a look at your to-do lists and calendars. We've spoke about that before. Make sure that your day is set up and organized. So then when the day starts, you go to work, you sit down to your office, the kids have gone to school, whatever it might be, whatever your situation is, you're ready and raring to go. So take a bit more consideration when you're thinking about your morning routine. Don't be so stringent with it. It doesn't need to be, it has to be like this, because life doesn't work like that. It's very rare that we get the opportunity to do things exactly the way we intend. So have plan B, have plan C, and have a quick version, have the away version. You're at a hotel room, have something set up. You're staying at a friend's, you're staying with family. And then have your long version. Have that one where you savor the moment, you enjoy your morning, and you get a little bit extra done. And as always, take care of yourself.